morning. Thank you for being here today. Today is going to be a slightly different biweekly press conference where I'm going to talk a little bit about how exciting it is to move into this building after anticipation of 4 years of being homeless, as well as a couple other things. We're also at the year mark for this chief staff being in place, so we're pretty excited about that, and have some of those stats based on the last year to go over, and then we'll open it up to questions. But at this point, I'd like to introduce Mayor Greenberg, who's been pivotal in making sure that this building continued to get funded with the help of council, and so I'd like to give him the floor to speak a little bit on that.
Chief. Thank you so much, Chief. It is indeed wonderful to be here at the new LMPD headquarters building, a building that so many people came together to support, for funding, for construction, for design, and now for doing the important work of improving public safety every day across our city. This is an incredible space. It overlooks our city right in front of us, and it's great to think about what a difference a year makes in Louisville, for LMPD, and for the entire community. To be standing in this new LMPD headquarters with our executive command staff who have just completed their first year, led by Chief Paul Humphrey, it's an incredible experience, an important day. Today is a great milestone and a symbol of progress for our city. It's been a year of effort and dedication, and I want to acknowledge the hard work and resolve of the men and women of LMPD who work for all of us every day to keep Louisville safe. They show up every day, committed to protecting every member of our community. Under Chief Humphrey's leadership, his command staff and officers have taken the challenge head on. They're embracing the opportunity to have one of the most respected, transparent, best trained police departments in our entire country. And we've seen significant progress as a result of their work. Violent crime is down. You'll hear more about that in a minute. And it shows that the right leadership is essential. Far too long, our officers were spread all over the city. Now, they have a modern, centralized home that we're in here today, designed to help them function at their best, to serve our city in the best possible way. And it's also right down the street from Metro Hall, very close for any time that we need to be together. This facility will foster communication and collaboration in a way that wasn't possible before the move-in. And as the United States Department of Justice noted, that collaboration, that proximity to one another in the same building is essential to a highly functioning police department. Since 2023, when the old headquarters was demolished, we've been working towards this day that we're here today. And this move is more than a change of just an address. It's a new chapter for LMPD. It represents a commitment to progress and the well-being of both our officers and the community who they all serve. And when this project is complete in the coming years, after we complete several more phases of this project, we'll have 600 Louisville Metro police officers working in the heart of downtown, in the heart of our city, every day. That's a big deal. So to the men and women of LMPD, I want to say thank you. I hope you enjoy your new home. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the commitment that you make to keeping Louisville safe. And I hope that this new home for you helps improve your collaboration, your commitment to our city. And we know it will help continue to keep people all across our city safe. This project is a result of an incredibly number of people who did hard work in designing it, overseeing the construction, ensuring that it got to the point where it is today. And I want to recognize one of them right now. Sergeant Gohagan can please come up. We've got a little special proclamation for you. Sergeant Christopher Gohagan really spearheaded this effort. He worked every day on this project, gave it all the attention that he would give to a child. And as a result, we're in this wonderful building that you can really tell where details mattered, because Sergeant Gohagan was looking over every detail to really know what would be best for the men and women of LMPD as we move forward. Thank you so much. I know we've had lots of conversations about this. We will continue to. This was not an easy project, but it's an important one. And so on behalf of the entire city of Louisville, we are proclaiming that today is Sergeant Christopher Gohagan Day. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks a lot. And I'll turn it back over to the executive command staff of LMPD.
So that's pretty awesome. Sergeant Gohagan, as well as numerous other people, have done an amazing amount of work. Lieutenant Chris Watkins is another. It's Gohagan's lieutenant. You know, the thing is about a lot of these projects, when you look at the way the Summit Wellness Center happened and several other things, it's just somebody started off with an idea, but really it takes people like Sergeant Gohagan, the facility staff, all the people that you see, and really that's the people that you don't see, are the ones who get the stuff done. So, I mean, we've got several of our professional staff over here, Carol Boyle, who works in strategic planning, Vicki Caldwell, one of our grants coordinators, personnel from human resources. You know, it's people that are all in this building and they're getting work done. It's easy for us to stand up here in front of a camera when we have people like that to talk about the work that they do. So that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Chief Ryan Bates, who's going to give you a summary of some of the stats over the past couple of weeks, as well as the past year, and then he'll turn it over to Deputy Chief Emily McKinley.
All right, so the going over the year-to-date stats on our, we're currently sitting at 90 homicides, which is a 25% reduction from where we were at last year at 118. We're at 213 non-fatal shootings, which is a 26% reduction from this time last year. 83 carjackings, which is a 31% reduction in what we had last year, and 41 business robberies, which is an 11% reduction in what we had last year. This next slide is a good slide. It shows where our calls for service are actually down 6%. But the reason I like this slide is it's a testament to how hard the men and women of LMPD are out there working for the citizens of Louisville to keep the community safe. We've had a 36% increase in self-initiated activity from this time last year. 30% more arrest warrants are being served than were at this time last year. And we've had a 12% increase in arrests. So that just not only shows you how hard everybody's out there working, they're not only responding to crime, but they're actually seeking out criminal activity to deter and prevent crime to keep this community safe. So the citizens of Louisville should be proud of that. I know we are. This serves as a crime comparison for a year to date from 2023 to 2024 and 2024 September to now. As you can see, everything's trending in the right direction. Homicides are down. We have 35 fewer than we did this time last year, 86 fewer non-fatal shootings, 25 less business robberies, 69 less carjackings, and 27 fewer fatal accidents. So to show you how that kind of plays out, it's a 23% reduction in homicides and non-fatal shootings, 24% reduction in business robberies, 44% reduction in carjackings, and 25% fewer fatal accidents. Also, burglaries are down 8%, and as we stated, in the same time period, arrests are up 20%. So I'd like to now introduce Deputy Chief Emily McKinley.
And I gotta get yeah, we all need a little step stool, but I need a little bigger one. So again, my name is Emily McKinley. I'm one of the deputy chiefs for LMPD. And one of the main focuses, or a big focus for the next and upcoming year, is going to be the community commitment and how we're going to work with the new monitor, implementing those requirements in that community commitment. And so last week, Mayor Greenberg announced that Effective Law Enforcement for All is going to be the independent monitor for the community commitment. And we're really excited to welcome Alifa, which they will go by to shorten that name. And we're really excited to start working with them. We're familiar with many of their team members and know that they have a proven track record for a commitment to fairness and accountability and effective policing. And it's not just a box that we're going to check. It's a partnership that will help us become better as a department and better as a community. And the monitor will work closely with LMPD each day to implement the requirements that are outlined in that community commitment. And they'll also report out to the Community Safety Commission. So they'll report out periodically to that commission, and that's part of the mayor's Safe Louisville plan. And so this will ensure transparency and accountability at every step. The commission will represent the community's voice, and their presence makes sure that what we do is not happening in a vacuum, but in a full conversation with the people that we serve. And I expect the members of that commission to ask questions, to point out blind spots that we may be missing. And they'll hear about our progress from the monitor and offer suggestions and advice to us and the monitor when we encounter any roadblocks along the way. And so we've looked at a lot of numbers here as far as looking back over the past year, and we've seen that crime is trending downward. Recruitment is up. We are about to select our next recruit class here on Friday, and that, the last class was the largest class. I hope that this class will be even larger, and so far that's going to be the case. So recruitment's up, crime is down, and communication and trust within the community and our department is improving. And, transparent updates with including this BiWeekly press conference that we're doing is just an example of that. And we're having more open and honest conversations within our department with our officers. And I'll pause there because it's easy for us to stand here at podiums and do press conferences and talk about policies and talk about crime and process. But behind those numbers are people. And so we need to understand that, and we need to remember that. So it's officers that are working tirelessly each day to drive crime down and protect and serve this community. And they're the ones that are out there doing the hard work every single day. And it's the professional staff that show up each day. And it's really great to see them here at the press conference because we're now all in the same building. They, are drafting policy language and completing reports and analyzing data. And we rely on them so much for the work that they do. But those numbers also represent members of our community. Those numbers are victims. There's witnesses behind those numbers. Those witnesses give us information to help us solve crime and drive crime down. And it's important that we remember that those numbers are people. And it's other leaders that strive and serve this community each and every day that work with us. And so while the last year of Chief Humphrey's first year was about laying that foundation, about leading and listening and building systems and processes and relationships within our community and setting expectations for ourselves and for each other. The next year is where we're going to have new challenges and new opportunities with this community commitment that's in place and the independent monitor that we're going to work with. The expectations are going to be higher. The scrutiny is going to be sharper, and we expect that. We want that. And the work will be harder. And we know that it won't be easy, that meeting new standards, adjusting policies, and implementing training plans, all of this is going to stretch us. It's going to stretch us pretty thin. And that's exactly what needs to happen, because when you want to grow, you have to put yourself in very hard situations and make yourself uncomfortable. And so we're willing to do that. We're eager to do that, and we're excited to do that. So this next year is going to test us. But with every challenge comes the opportunity to show that progress is real and trust can be built, and that growth doesn't stop with past year's gains. And so we're ready for the challenge, grateful for the progress so far, and we're committed to proving every day that this department is dedicated to serving the community with pride and with integrity. And so that's the promise that you see in that community commitment. That's the work ahead of us, and that's what we're ready to deliver together. And so at this time, I'll open it up for questions for the chief and the mayor or anybody else.
So hang on. It wasn't time for questions yet. She jumped the gun just a little bit. So, so first of all, I'll say that I will use the podium steps too, because the number one question that I get when I meet people in public is, I didn't know you weren't very tall. So yeah, I'm short. But on a serious note, I want to update you on an incident that just happened. There was an explosion over at Union Carbide. As of right now, we've gotten reports of no injuries. So I think Pleasure Ridge Park Fire Department is lead, and LFD is helping them on that scene. But as of right now, there are no injuries and no threats to the general public right now that we know of. And we'll continue to keep you updated on that as any news becomes available. And I'll also reiterate some things that Chief Bates and Chief McKinley talked about. We're very excited about the progress that we've made over the last year or so, both internally as a culture as well as stats and some of the things that we've done. But This is where actually I get a little bit more nervous, is because the natural tendency when you have any success is to rest on your laurels a little bit. And so this is the point where, as a command staff, as a department, as an agency, we need to really push it even harder to make sure that not just the crime stats improve, but the culture continues to improve, the performance, the professionalism continues to improve, and that's ultimately what we're here to do. And so when you have people like this command staff in the lead of that, I feel really good about where we're going to go. You know, Ryan Bates was one of my mentors when I was a new officer. You know, he was one of the guys on the SWAT team that I looked up to. So to work with somebody like him every day, or you've got a couple guys over here who are trying to hide, and Brian Kruger and Donnie Burbrink, who have exemplary records on this police department. And so be able to sit in rooms with them and listen to their advice every day is the only reason why we can get some of this stuff done. But ultimately, it's about the work of those officers out on the street who are going out there and putting in the hours and the sweat equity that matters. And all of us are just here to support the work that the workers do. So with that, I'll turn it over to questions, or open it up to questions.
Chief, can you expand on what the mayor was talking about, the number of police officers? How many will be working inside this building once it's all completed? And also, as part of that, what's available to the public services-wise now and when the place is completed, as far as police reports, things like that?
Yeah, so good question. So the question is how many people will ultimately work in here and what's available to the public as far as public access right now, and what it will be. So right now, I'm not sure the number. I think we have, and Gohagan might know a little bit better, but I think it's somewhere between 70 and 100 people working in here right now, and eventually it'll be between 400 and 600 that'll ultimately work in here. Right now, we really don't have any public-facing functions that are in this building yet. All of these are mostly administrative offices and things like that. But eventually, this will be a one-stop shop where even the public will come. Our records department will be downstairs so you can get reports taken. Our intention, and I know Rebecca Flyshaker would like to keep the downtown area patrol over on 2nd and Jeff, but our intention is to move downtown area patrol into here so we have response capabilities out of this building. So you'll have all of your major crimes, you know, robbery, homicide, all of those units will be in this building, as well as many others. So pretty excited about being able to just walk downstairs and talk to people, or walk across the hall and talk to people for a change.
Do you think this will increase the police presence in downtown?
So the question was, will this increase the police presence in downtown? It already has. I mean, you know, I just wear a uniform as show, but you know, we walk around downtown all the time now. It's really nice. You know, we just went and got lunch at one of the shops that we can just walk to now. So yeah, I think when you are going to bring 400 to 600 people downtown, that's 400 to 600 people that are going to not only be present for deterrence and enforcement and all that type of stuff, but this is 400 to 600 people that are going to be workers in downtown, and so that will be a benefit to the businesses downtown as well. So we look forward to both the policing, law enforcement, public safety benefits, as well as the economic benefits that it'll bring.
Asking to speculate here, what impact do you expect looking at this building as a tool, what impact do you expect it to have on actual policing at the street level?
So the effect on actual policing at the street level, you know, the funny thing is that since I've been on this police department now 19 years, I think the old headquarters was condemned even then, maybe. You had sewage coming down on people's desks. You didn't have a healthy environment to work in. Your work product often reflects the environment that you work in. And so to have homicide detectives or robbery detectives that don't have to worry about things leaking on their desk or roaches running around creates a healthier atmosphere. But the other thing is that it's that water cooler effect also. The fact that HR can walk down the hallway and we can actually have a conversation with them, as opposed to having to drive to their offices or talk on the phone. The fact that we'll have our force investigations unit right here in the same building with the legal staff and the command staff, and working in the same building as the people whose uses of force they're reviewing, and they can just walk to their offices and get better. That's how improvement happens. Improvement's a collaborative effort. And so being separated creates barriers to improvement. And ultimately, I think you build culture better when you're in the same place. This also creates what I think will be a great opportunity for recruitment. We're able to show off the Summit Wellness Center, and people are very impressed by that. It'll be nice to have a police headquarters that we can walk people into as well. So,
Where are you at on the recruitment numbers and staffing levels?
so we actually will be selecting another recruit class Friday. So, knock on wood, it should be bigger than the last recruit class that we had. So, but either Friday or Monday, we'll be able to get hard numbers to you on that update.
What will the amenities be here? Didn't you have a gym at the old building?
So as far as amenities, we did have a gym at the old building. I don't know if you would want to call it a gym. I think it was more like a tetanus factory. But so we did have a small gym. We won't have we had a basketball gym in there as well. We won't have that here, but there will be some workout facilities downstairs. But really, the amenities are that you can breathe clean air and drink clean water, and you can actually talk to people. So I know that's not the answer you want it to look for, but this is not a spa. This is an office, and so we're also not Google where you get to just show up however you want.
Maybe looking past just the word amenities, there are certain needs that a department has that are beyond a typical office building. So what special do you have in this building that a typical office building wouldn't have?
Right. So the difference in some of the typical office building is obviously some of the security measures that we have to have in here. Obviously, it shouldn't be and will not be an easy building to get into. I'm not going to get into all the security measures, but we do have several layers of that. Making sure that we have private offices that are soundproof, so that when we're having discussions with legal or with human resources, we can have those, which we didn't have before. And so to have competent, functional workspaces, to have break rooms where you can actually eat, those are important functions for us.
You have Sally Board security area where you can bring suspects.
Prisoners, yeah. So, so we will have a separate entrance that we'll be able to bring suspects in. And that was one of the problems that we had in the buildings that we had before. When you're in a shared building and, you're bringing in a homicide suspect to interview and they're getting on the same elevator as someone who is going to talk to air pollution control district, that's a problem. It's an exposure problem for the public. It's a risk problem. And so to be able to have a facility where we can have a separate entrance and make sure that suspects, equipment, things like that can go in and out of without that overlapping danger to the public is very important.
You want to talk about that inverse relationship between, like, as arrests go up, the crime is going down? Like, do you see the arrest playing a big factor in that?
So about the relationship between arrests and crime, and I do see that there is an inverse effect on that. As we arrest people, one thing it does is it creates visibility of officers, which takes away opportunity, right? The more officers are out there, the more officers are being visible, the more deterrent effect it has. The other effect it has is that we're actually taking people off the street that are committing crimes. I think we all know that many criminals are repeat offenders, and so the time that they spend incarcerated instead of out on the street makes the community safer. So there is a direct effect of that. But don't just look at our increased arrests. If you look at the increased officer activity, the proactive activity that officers are having, whether that's stopping by businesses, going on walking patrols, that is a huge factor in it as well. And the other thing that does beyond the visibility is that's where those one-to-one relationships are built between officers and the community, and that level of trust that has to happen between officers and the community.
And on something that can be done on the enforcement side that officers don't have to be present for, we asked the mayor about this morning. Would you support, like, automatic traffic enforcement cameras in the city of Louisville?
So the questions about automatic traffic enforcement cameras, I absolutely would. I am not a traffic cop, would never pretend to be one. I used to make fun of them until I realized how important their job was when it comes to public safety. And the more tickets we write, the fewer fatal accidents there are. plain and simple. And so if we're really dedicated to keeping people safe as a government, then we would use the tools in our tool bag to do that. And I think automated traffic enforcement is a great tool that we should have available to us to be able to do that. So.
Anything else, guys? Can I ask you one more, just a brief update on what the chief was talking about? Just one last thing to close us out is in terms of the phasing, you all were asking about what is currently available here and what's to come. So right now, obviously the 4th floor is now complete that we're on right here. We have secured funding for the 3rd floor as well. So that work is underway. We will need additional funding through future budget cycles to complete the other phases of the project on the 2nd, the 1st floor as well. So this to manage expectations in terms of timing. That's where we are right now. And I also want to echo what the chief said. In addition to Sergeant Gohagen, Mark Zoller and his team with our facilities at Louisville Metro Government did a phenomenal job working hand in hand with the LMPD team. And so, Mark, to you and your team, thank you guys so much. Job well done.
What's the price tag stand right now for this building?
So, it changes every day. Right now, it's north of $70 million is the total price tag for all of the work. But again, depending on what happens in the economy, the cost of construction, that will change as we fund it in the coming years.
Can you explain how we got to this point of the 70 million though? I mean, there was the original appropriation of 13 million, 14 million on top of that from the American Rescue Plan. How did we get to 70 million?
So the question was, how did we get to the price tag for the current building? When I became mayor and the chief and I first started looking at this project, others who came before us had been working towards a project that we did not believe the city could afford. When you asked about amenities, that first plan of the project, that had a lot of amenities. A lot of that is not critical to the core work that the chief has been talking about that he and his team do every day are no longer here. But it is a safe, it is effective, it is a clean, and is a healthy environment in which for our LMPD team to work. And so that's what we're building. And we're building it as we go. We did what we called value engineering to get to where we are, and we'll continue to work on that to make sure every dollar that we spend is a dollar that needs to be sent to provide the office space that LMPD requires to do their job.
Does that 70 million include what you need to do on the 1st and 2nd floors, or is that just cover?
No, that's for everything. Again, I don't know the exact number. We can provide it to you, but I do know it's north of $70 million right now.
All right, that's gonna be it, guys. We got
Thank you all very much.
one-on-one.